Yes, sir.
Yes.
All right. Good evening, everybody. I am so excited for Mindshift 2.0, and I am excited for our first guest today. You don't know this, but I've been following you from CCI Maraba.
Wow. That's a
Yes,
long time.
I've been following you from CCI Maraba. In fact, I was very sad when you were transferred, but I understand that you had a higher calling. But it's okay. She shall still pay us. I just wanted to put it out there that there are some people that were pained by the move. But
Okay.
I've been following you. In fact, I've been to church once, and I was in church once, and I met you. I didn't meet you, but I listened to you teach God's word. And so I started following your
Mm,
social media. And so when we're putting together the list of people that we felt were going to speak into this season and we're praying
mm,
about it because we're a
mm,
praying organization, your name was one of the first ones that came to our heart to speak in this meeting and really to open us up because you have a unique way of teaching that really connects to people and cuts across board. And because I could remember being in church that day, I have a local church, but that day I couldn't make it to my local church. So I just decided, oh, CCI is close to my house. And that was when I met you in church. But so, sir, I just want to say thank you for all you do. Thank you for all of your investments. Thank you for your heart. And I'm really looking forward to learning from you today around the personal brand. So, everybody, this is Pastor. Let's not be calling him Mr. He is Pastor. Hello, sir. Can you hear me? Your picture is frozen a little. Hello, sir. Okay, I think we have a network issue, but it will be sorted shortly. It will be sorted shortly. But let us know in the chat because today is day one. Let us know in the chats where you're joining us from and sort of your expectation for these conversations because I really believe that these are going to be life changing conversations and Harry Obama, could you explain what you mean? Because yeah, could you just explain what you mean by what you just posted for the sake of clarity? But okay, he's back, I believe. Network. Okay, let's just give him a minute. I really, really am looking forward to this entire conversation and I'm looking forward to learning about personal brand because I really believe that everyone has a brand, whether they know that they are building or they do not know. Everyone has a personal brand. And if we're not intentional about the brand that we're building, um, we would. All right, we're back. Thank you, Jesus. All right, sir. Over to you, sir.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's a great pleasure to be here. Thank you to you and to everyone else on the team that made this happen. I'm really, really glad. And, branding is one thing that I I came into at the point when I didn't even realize what it was, but I'm happy that I got to figure it out, and now I'm able to spend bulk of my time trying to help people figure out what it is and make the most of it. So it's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to meet everyone who is online, and I'm looking forward to sharing as much as I can. And I pray that God is going to really allow his spirit to make everything stick and show you the best way to make this. applicable in your life personally, because it can be very different for different people. Okay, so
Yeah.
I'm going to screen now, and we can start from
We're
there.
with you, sir. You're
Okay, I want to share my screen.
okay, sir. Um, is it possible for you to just send us a slide and I'll just help put it up? Or because okay, oh, because it wouldn't let. Or can you see
Okay,
share screen? Can you see
yeah,
present?
yes, but I can't see the window I want to share.
Oh dear.
Yeah, so I'll share the link with you now.
Okay, please, sir. Arnold.
Okay, let me know if you've seen it.
Yes, I have, sir. Let me just open it up.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Present. Um, share screen. Can you see? Can you see it, sir?
Yes, yes, I can.
Okay, sir. So I'm ready when you are. I can just navigate it as you're speaking, sir.
All right. So let's move into it as quickly as possible. Leveraging personal branding to level up. Now, the reason why this is important is because there's a barrage of people out there. There are so many people doing many great things. There's so many people doing amazing things like you. But many times you don't even need to be the best to get the best out of life. Sometimes you need to position yourself properly. Sometimes you need to ensure that the right people see you. Sometimes you need to just ensure that there is no hindrance between you and the people that are meant to see you. And branding is one of the ways that you ensure that you make that happen. And so I'm going to go over how we can leverage personal branding and how you can level up, especially professionally. All right. So, first question, let's go and try to have a conversation about what a brand is. Many times when we think about branding, the conversations usually move around logos, around big companies and corporations and all of that. And yeah, that's fine. That's part of what branding is. But when you think about it very deeply, many times it's difficult to tell why sometimes you go to a store, a supermarket where you have so many items, and then for some reason you end up picking whatever detergent you pick. The reality is that you haven't tested every single detergent to say, oh, this is the best, and so that's why I'm picking it. Many times the reason why we pick the brands that we pick is because we have an emotional or a psychological attachment to the brand. And sometimes it may just be because, oh, that's what I grew up seeing my mother use, and I love my mother so much. I mean, you don't register it yourself like that, but it shows up like that sometimes. Or, oh my God, I saw an ad one day and I saw Adesoa using it, and Adesoa is my crush. In fact, I remember one time I bought Viva soap just because I saw Adesuwa using it, and I mean that
Wow.
personally, I don't really, I don't have any um affiliation to any particular soap. I just use whichever one crosses my mind. Sometimes I use Sunlight, depending, but that day I was just like, oh, Adesuwa is using Viva, let me try it. And that's what I'm trying to explain about branding. It's an emotional and a psychological relationship. And so when you're able to see it for what it is, it then registers in your mind that as important as your skill is, as important as it is to build your skill to the highest level possible, it's also very important for you to ensure that you are positioning yourself properly, that you are giving off the right impression, and the right people are seeing you. And so, what branding is that you are now managing that relationship. You are putting in everything that you need to put in place to ensure that people see who you are and see you for what you are. Because it's one thing for you to have an idea of yourself. When Jesus in the Bible asks you, he says, "What do men say I am?" That's a branding question there, because he's trying to gauge what people's perception of him is. And obviously, he got many interesting answers. And Jesus wasn't here for branding; he was here to do the will of God. But when you do something like that, it means that there are people who will see you for who you really are, and there are people that may misunderstand you in. But you see, for what you want to do in your profession, if you want no one to misunderstand you, then it means that you must be consistent. You must, and in fact, in Jesus's defense, many of the answers that came still revolved around his prophetic ministry, around the ministry of what he was going to come and fulfill. So he had his branding on lockdown because every answer that he got revolved around, oh, you are Elijah, you are the true living God, you know. So that's a good way to brand. And one thing you'll notice in life of Jesus, for example, is the fact that the Bible says everywhere he went, he was doing good. He was working miracles. He was teaching people. He was speaking to the Pharisees. He was showing love, was showing affection. That was his brand. And he didn't even need to do a brand positioning. He just needed to be himself. He just needed to focus on the single assignment that he had. And so for anyone here who wants to build a brand, that's one of the first things you want to do. Ensure that you are clear about who you want to be. So personal branding will simply be a conscious creation of an image that reflects your values, your skills, and your goals. That's something that is not going to happen by chance. So I've defined what branding is. I've defined what a brand is, what branding is, and what personal branding is. So like, yeah, you can move on to the next slide. So it's packaging yourself and your career as a brand. It revolves defining who you are, what you stand for, and what makes you unique. It's basically ensuring that you are able to create a conscious effort to ensure that the image that people have of you is the image that you want them to have of you. Jeff Bezos would say that a brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. And that's so true. So why is it important to pay attention to your brand? Because everything is changing so rapidly, and one of the things that would always set you apart is what makes you you. No matter how many people other people, no matter how many other people are doing your business, no matter how many other people are in your industry, there is no one that can do it like you. And so you want to ensure that you position yourself and you bring in your unique skills, your unique abilities, your unique perspectives, your unique idea into whatever you're doing, and show the world that this is who I am. And then people see you for that and they appreciate you for that, and they can distinguish you from other people who are doing the exact same thing. Please, let's move on to the next slide. All right, so now let's talk about corporate branding versus personal branding. You see, one of the major differences between corporate and personal branding is the fact that in corporate branding, yeah, typically focused on the company, focused on the product, focused on, managing customer expectations and all of that. But when it comes to personal branding, it's more about highlighting your individual skills, your values, and your professional journey. So you are talking about yourself. Now you are trying to manage the relationship between you and other people, managing the relationship between how people see you and how you want them to see you. So everything that you do in the concept of branding is a conscious effort to ensure that people see you for who you really are, and the impression that they have of you is the impression you want them to have of you, such that you don't go around thinking, oh, I'm sure everybody knows I'm really good at my work. But nobody thinks that, because nobody has seen your work before. The only people who have seen your work are the people in your room, and you feel like everybody knows that. That doesn't work like that. So personal branding is ensuring that you are able to let people see you for who you really are. It's a mix of both your individual skills, your values, and your professional journey, sharing it and ensuring that everybody sees what that looks like for you. And that's really important, because when you think about many of the people that we have today in the world, celebrities, many of them are known for something, and they go the extra mile to ensure that they keep people thinking about them in the way that they think about them. And so that's what you want to do when it comes to personal branding. Can we go on to the next slide? All right. So personal branding is the process of creating a unique image or a persona that represents who you are and what you stand for. Okay. So the key point here is the personal in the branding. So it's not just branding, but personalizing the branding, ensuring that there is a touch of your personality in the branding. So you are creating a unique image. You're not trying to be like somebody. You can be inspired by people. You can learn from people, but you are not trying to be them. You want to create an image, a unique image that truly reflects who you are and what you stand for. And this involves, highlighting and identifying your strengths, your values, and your unique selling points, and then communicating them effectively to the people that you want to reach. So, what you are trying to do with personal branding is to ensure that the right people have the right impression of you. So, not just everybody cannot have the right impression of you. Even Jesus, in the example that I gave, some people thought it was Elijah, but some other people knew who he really was. So, your job is to ensure that you have a great and a unique image in the sight of the people who are important to you. For example, if you run a luxury brand or if you're trying to reach luxury clients, you will not be targeting your branding towards everybody. You will target your
Mhm.
branding to people who you know can afford it. So if you're in Lagos, for example, Lagos is one of the most popular cities in Nigeria, you probably won't put your billboard in Ajegunle or in Oshodi. You'll put your billboard in Lekki Phase 1, in Ikoyi, in VI. And the reason why you do that is because you want the right people to have the right impression of your business. So the same thing happens with you personally. You want to put yourself in the places where the people who you want to have the right impression of you can find you. All right. Next slide. Now, you see, I talked about the difference between corporate branding and personal branding. And the link between two of them that's going to make it very easy for you to understand is when you think about yourself as a product. Okay? Think about yourself as a product. Imagine if I was a product, where would I shelf myself? If I was a product, who would I want to buy me? If I was a product, how would I want to be perceived? That's a question you need to answer. When you answer that question, then it becomes easy for you to think about yourself as a brand. And you think about yourself as an identity that is unique. And so you now need to create everything that you can to ensure that that product is properly packaged so that the right people have the right impression of you. The people you want to see you are seeing you, and they are seeing you where they would easily find you. So if you really, really want to get a hack of what this personal branding looks like, think of yourself as a brand. Think of yourself as someone who has a unique identity. Every brand that we know has a unique identity. When you go to do one of the best examples of branding that I always remember is St. Louis. Everybody knows St. Louis Sugar. St. Louis Sugar hasn't
Yeah.
even many of us don't know the logo of St. Louis Sugar. We just know there's a lion on the blue sugar box. I probably have never seen their adverts before, but most people know that St. Louis is the number one sugar if you really want to buy like really, really good sugar that doesn't break or doesn't scatter after a few minutes. And that picture of St. Louis is supposed to help you see that it's not about changing your logos. It's not about having a very, very big splash of colors and doing so many adverts. No, it's about staying true to who you are and doing that consistently. So St. Louis has been giving us great quality sugar for a very long time. If they change their branding right now, it will probably hurt them because everybody has registered quality of St. Louis with that light blue package. So when you think about
Okay.
yourself as that, you think about how can I be consistent? How can people see me and know exactly what I stand for and know exactly if we align in terms of branding? There are people who and if you see them do brand collaborations, it'll be very weird. You probably won't see Ashake do a brand collaboration with a church because the the value system is very wide apart. But you can probably see someone like maybe Banky Wellington, even though he's not a pastor. I mean, he's a pastor, yeah, but maybe Adisua or maybe Timi Dakolo, for example. Timi Dakolo is not a pastor, but if you see him in the church, it won't be weird because the kind of songs that
Yeah.
they sing are songs that align with the value of Christians in many cases. And so
Mm.
that's how you think about yourself as a brand that is worth selling, a brand that is worth presenting, a brand that is worth keeping unique. Next slide. All right. So one of the major reasons why you want to do this is because it's going to help you stand out from the crowd. Another reason is that you are able to build trust and credibility if you are able to create a brand around yourself. And when I say personal branding, I'm not even just talking about a logo. There are people that we know their personal brands, and it's not because they have a specific logo. Like maybe people who are in old school will remember Linda Ikeji. You know, Linda Ikeji was like a mix of Yaba left and everybody joined together. If you want
Juice
to know what's,
lover.
just go to Linda Ikeji. And I don't even know if Linda Ikeji has a logo, but I know that if I need information about what is happening in today's world, at that time I was going to go to Linda Ikeji. Now we'll probably go to maybe, I don't even know where to go to. You just go on Twitter and see what's trending, you find out. But then she had that brand because she was consistently delivering great quality. And so when you think about it like that, sometimes your name is all you need. You may not even need a logo, even though it's fine to do a logo. Your name may be all you need. As long as we can identify your name with great quality, then you already have started this journey of personal branding. So you're able to build trust and build credibility. You're able to enhance your career prospects because sometimes the difference between you and the job of your dreams may not be a new skill. It may just be in ensuring that the right people are seeing you. And then one more thing that it does for you is that it boosts your confidence when you are able to work on your personal branding. People, because you've created an image of yourself that is unique and is clear and is clean, it boosts your confidence and it positions you to be a thought leader at some point, because what you've done is that you have consistently said a few things, or you have consistently said a number of things, and then all you know, next thing you know, everybody really, really just wants to be associated with you. All right.
Yes, sir.
Um, Now, I forgot to introduce myself. All right. My name is David. I help global brands tell their stories in a very clear and compelling way. I empower the people that build them. And I share my insights on entrepreneurship and branding and communication. So, a few of the brands that I work with, you'll see them on the screen. But bulk of the work I do revolves around um, communications and marketing for brands, ensuring that the story that they're telling is a story that people can see. And however that can look like, I'm just always there to ensure that people are seeing you the right way and hearing the right thing that you're saying. All right, next slide. All right, so I'm a speaker, I'm an entrepreneur and a branding consultant, and I typically nexus ideas, and strategies on entrepreneurship, branding, and marketing. Next slide. So I'm using LinkedIn here because the goal is majorly to leverage your personal branding for career success. And if you're thinking about career success, one of the most important places you need to be on is LinkedIn. One of the most important places you probably find your future jobs is also LinkedIn. So I'm going to do a case study of how to do that with LinkedIn. And then I'm going to go into some of the really, really important basics. And then I'll open the floor for questions and we can wrap it up. All right. Thank you so much. Next slide.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so on LinkedIn, for example, one of the most important things you want to do is set up your profile. Okay, and your profile is going to have a very simple picture. You want to have a very good picture, if possible. Get a photographer to take a nice picture of you. The reason why you want to do that is because how people see you will determine their impression of you. So if you don't have a good image, chances are people may not take you very seriously. So try to get a good picture. Okay, and then find a compelling headline and summary, something that goes beyond your job title, something that summarizes who you are and what you bring to the table in a very, very simple way, such that the people who may want to hire you or the people who may want to work with you can learn about you without even reading everything about you in your bio. So this is one of the most important things when it comes to career success. Setting up your LinkedIn profile. Next slide. Now, setting up your profile, you want to ensure that you put your experience, put your education, list all your relevant experiences, also showcase your education and your certification. So if you've done maybe things like Coursera, ensure that you put it there, Google Digital Skills, you put it there, you attended one conference, you put it there. Everything is going to matter, trust me. Sometimes it may be that one small certificate that separates you from a contract. I remember a few months ago, my wife and I started learning French. So we went to the French Institute, why is the name
Wow.
skipping? Institut de Francais, right? And so we started learning how to speak French, and I did my A1. And then recently I got a consultancy with an organization that was going to do a project both in English and French. And they said, we need somebody who actually at least has a working knowledge of French. You don't need to be able to speak it. And I was just like, oh my God, imagine I didn't do that. And that's something that I haven't even put on my LinkedIn yet. But I was just thinking about the fact that that small certification that I didn't even think was anything was going to make a difference. And so imagine having it on my profile. I'm saying that for you so that in case there are things like that that you have done that you have not thought about, go back and look around and then figure out everything, put everything on your LinkedIn, ensure that you have a perfect image. Now, you don't want to put every single project you have done because every single certification you have done. You want to put relevant certifications. So imagine that on your LinkedIn, you are starting out and you want to be a customer service representative. Okay. Now, every LinkedIn every course you have done that relates to that project or to that course is what you want to put on your LinkedIn. So imagine you did a course on business communications. That's a good thing to put there. Imagine you did a course on communications in times of distress. That's a good thing to put there. Imagine you did a course on customer relationship, that's a good thing to put there. But if you did a course on maybe how to bake, you may not necessarily to put that there because it may not be relevant. So put things that are
Yeah.
relevant to education and your experience. All right. Next slide. Also include your skills and your endorsements. So if there are skills that are relevant to your career and your industry, ensure that you add them. Feel free to request for endorsements from your colleagues and your clients because it helps you build credibility in many ways that you don't even realize. Sorry, give me a few minutes.
Yes, sir. Wow. I don't know about everyone listening, but I'm definitely going to go and work on my LinkedIn profile after this and do
All right.
better.
Thank you so much. Next slide. Now, after you've done your profile, one of the most important things you want to do is ensure that you start sharing and creating content. Before we move there, I just want to touch on some of the basics of personal branding, and I'm going to just wrap it up really quickly. Very, very important core elements of personal brand is authenticity and consistency. And that's why I'm talking about creating content because you want to be as authentic as possible. The difference between authenticity and consistency is authenticity means that you are sharing the same, for example,
Sorry, hello, sir. Can everyone hear me? I don't know if everyone can hear him or if it's just my network. Can everyone hear him? I think the network. Okay. I think we'll just give him a moment and allow for the network. But how many of us are learning? How many of us are learning tonight about your personal brand and leveraging your personal brand? Like this is, I feel like this is needed right now because we're in a season where personal branding is everything and there's such an emphasis on building a brand that is solid and building a brand that you can be really intentional about because the workspace is becoming more global, the marketplace is becoming a lot more global, and they are really emphasizing us um getting to that space where we are being really focused on understanding and truly utilizing. I feel like understanding and truly utilizing all of that has been made available to us. Okay, he's back. Thank God.
yeah. Sorry, I didn't realize. How long was I off for?
Maybe 5 minutes. Oh,
Wow.
3 minutes. Sorry, not five. 3 minutes. Yeah.
Okay, okay, so I was talking about one of the core areas of personal branding, and it's ensuring that you are authentic and consistent. Okay, ensuring that people can hear you talk about the same topic that many other people are talking about, but you're talking about it in the most unique way possible, in a way that resonates with you personally. So that's where the authenticity is. And it builds trust because people know you're not bamboozling them. People know that you're not just going to ChatGPT, copying information and pasting it, and then letting everybody think that, wow, this guy's consistent, you know. Ensuring that it's as personal as possible. That's why it's called personal branding. And then so you define what makes you unique, you remain consistent in your voice, in your appearance, in your message. So not just your voice, not just your appearance, but your message as well, that you're saying the same thing in different ways. And people know that if I want to hear about how to make progress in something, I know to listen to David. If I want to know how to start with something, I know to listen to David. If I want to know how to build something that didn't if I know to listen to David. So you want to ensure that you have that on lockdown. Okay. Consistency in the messaging, in your voice, and in your appearance. Those three are going to keep you, as well as consistency in delivering the message in the timeliness, apart from being authentic, meaning ensuring that you are seeing it the way it really is with a personal touch, not just copying and pasting what people think. And then you also pay attention to your visual identity, you know, things like your colors. If you want to have a logo, that's fine. Your social media aesthetics, you know, so those are some things you want to touch upon and ensure that those things help you stay recognized. Now, the reason why that's important is it's one thing to be authentic, it's one thing to be consistent, but if people cannot recognize you, it'll be difficult. For example, everybody knows once you see anybody wear a black turtleneck, you know, people already think about Steve Jobs. You know, in Nigeria right now, Fisai Fosudo is that person. That's consistency, ensuring that you are very, very recognizable. So, if you want to build a personal brand, before you even start to create content, a few things you need to do, very, very, very important. Define why you want to do what you want to do. Define your why, you know, and define who the people you're trying to reach are. You know, same way brands define their target goals, the way they do, we want to reach these particular people and we want to reach them because a good example would be a brand like Nike. Okay. Nike as a brand is focused on athletes and ensuring that athletes are maximizing their capacity. Now, that's who they are focusing on. But you see, the fact that they are focusing on athletes doesn't mean other people cannot benefit from them because
Yeah.
in their messaging, they can actually focus on the athlete in you because there's an athlete in everybody. As long as you can run, you're an athlete. And so the messaging then covers as many people as possible, but they will not go outside the scope of athletics. And so even if they create multiple products, the multiple products still revolve around athletics. And that's important. So define your why. Define what really, really makes you tick. For example, Oprah Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey's why is, you know, ensuring that she wants to be empathetic and empower people. You know, that's why her shows are so relatable. You know, and it helped her attract a very, very loyal audience because there are people who just wanted to listen to her talk about things, listen to her talk about issues, listen to her interview people. That's something that you want to be clear about. What is your why? For me, one of the things that I'm trying to do is help people express themselves as much as possible. And so, whether it's through their businesses, whether it's through their brands, whether it's through their social media, whatever it is, my goal is that I want to help people express themselves. So, even in the businesses that I do, the consistency is still there. That there are people who want to do things, and I want to ensure that they're able to express themselves. So, what does that involve? It means sometimes giving them the knowledge that they need, inspiring them to take action on what they want to do, and inspiring them to start. Because many times, before you do anything, if you don't start, you won't make any progress. So, that's a why for me. So you want to figure that out for yourself. And then you go ahead to create your own unique voice and story. So I was talking about how I started something where I started posting a story every day on Monday mornings, you know. And I was just posting stories from the experiences that I've had in my life and some of the lessons that I've learned from them. And that's my way of being consistent. And apart from that, I'll just tell you this because you're here. Another thing that I'm also doing with that is I'm trying to learn how to be a better writer. So I'm a good speaker, but I'm not a great writer. So I'm forcing myself to ensure that I write at least every week, and that has been a good exercise for me. But apart from that, also I'm also using style to create my autobiography, because then many things happen and then you forget. But then if you have a long list of all the stories in your life, when it's time to write the autobiography, you will start from the beginning. But anyways, that's by the way. But it's the consistency and it's the format of it. So if you go through my Instagram, you see what those pictures look like. It's very, very recognizable. You can tell that this is who I am. And then apart from that is then you ensure that you want to maintain a positive online presence. So even if it means you're posting something, if it means you're writing something, if it means you're showing up online, and that leads me to creating and sharing content. So things you must do, especially for LinkedIn, if you want to leverage if you want to leverage personal branding for success in your career, is share content online. Okay, and sharing content online doesn't mean that it has to be like professional, over the top. Not necessarily. You can share articles, you can share posts, you can share videos, you can share updates. Mix professional insights with personal stories. That's what makes it personal branding. If you just wanted to be a media outlet or an educational platform, that would be different. But if you want to build a personal brand, then you want to get personal. So ensure that you don't just post about your academics or post about your career. Sometimes post about things that are going on with you personally, because it's what? Personal branding. So ensure that you create and you share content. Next slide. So I'm going to give you a good example. All right. So let's assume you are in technology. Okay. Because sometimes the difficult part is, what kind of content should I post? I'm not that experienced. You don't have to be that experienced. You just need to be bold enough to share what you believe. You need to be bold enough to share what you're thinking about at any particular time. All right. So you can do videos, right? You can do maybe tutorials on the new software. You can do product demos, tech reviews. Someone like Fisai Fusido, that's what he does. He started with tech reviews and he was consistent with it. You can write articles. If you're in technology, for example, in-depth analysis of industry trends, case studies on a successful project, maybe not even one that you have done, one that somebody has done, and then you share your insight on it. So that's the personal touch to the branding, because then people see that you're talking about this every single week or every single day. And then next time they have a problem with something, because they've heard you talk about it, because they've seen you talk about it, they believe that you have the answers that they need. And that's how personal branding really works, is that the consistency in your messaging, the consistency in the output of the content that you're giving gives people the impression that you really, really know your stuff. And even if you didn't know your stuff, trust me, if you want to be consistent with branding, because it's going to take reading and writing and stuff like that, even if you weren't good at it before, you will get better at it, because now you're creating content and you can't just create content without reading and researching. And so maybe you want to do posts, quick tips on coding practices, updates on tech events. The range is wide, so you don't have to always talk about coding. There are many things I can talk about. Let me give you another industry specific example. Next slide. Let's say you're in healthcare, right? And maybe you're like, oh, tech bros are everywhere, but healthcare, well, what am I going to talk about? You can talk about health tips. People like a Aproko doctor, a real medical doctor, and he spends all his time on social media. Talk about health tips, patient success stories behind the scenes at medical facilities. Those are interesting video content that you can share. And maybe you want to keep it consistent. You want to determine what it's going to look like. Research summaries, if you want to do articles. And in those research summaries, you are not using the garbage, or not the garbage, you're not using the jargon that the industry standards use. You simplify it so that people who are non-academic can understand it, who are non-professionals can understand it. That's something you can do. Healthcare policy, maybe you analyze the healthcare policy, but you analyze it in a simple way so that people who are not healthcare professionals can understand it. Those are simple things that you can do when it comes to articles. Posts, you can post, health awareness days, advice on wellness practices, very, very simple things. And you just imagine, let me tell you something really simple, right? If you take these three, okay, you do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, a video on Monday, an article on Wednesday, a post on Thursday, on Friday. Trust me, if you do that for 3 months consistently, you would start to create an impression in the minds of people. And especially because the content that you're producing is not just copy and paste, you are infusing a personal element, and people can tell that this person really, really puts in effort into ensuring that this document or this content is relatable. Always make sure your content is relatable. If your content stops being relatable, there's no point. It doesn't become personal. It's basically just information online that you're posting through your social media channel. But if you want it to be relatable, if you want it to resonate, make it as relatable as possible. Personally, when I started posting those stories, I noticed that the stories when I talked about things that actually affected me personally had more reach because it's social media. You might have noticed that when you post a picture of yourself, you probably get maybe 40, 50, 100, 20, 200 likes, depending on how many followers you have. But the
Yes,
day you
sir.
post the banner of your church, you probably see like 6 or 7 likes, or a banner of one of your friends' events. Why? It's not because the design is not great. Mm-mm. It's because on social media, people are following you because they want to see you. And so when they
Wow.
see, oh wow, slay, give them choke us, they'll give all the comments that they want to give. When you post a banner, they're like, I'm not here for this. Meanwhile, there are some other people who are designers on social media and all they post is banners. And so when they post their banners, they probably get 200, 500 likes. The day they post a picture of themselves, nobody cares because that's not what they are there for. So you want to ensure that you are as relatable as possible. Let's move on to the next slide. Another simple industry specific standard would be maybe finance. So I have a myriad of these examples, and because of time, I'm just going to skip through. I'll share the link with you. You can view this later to get tips. Let's move on to okay, same thing for marketing. I did the same thing for marketing. I thought I'll have enough time. Education. If you're in law, you can do something similar. If you're in design, there's still room for you. So it's not a closed circle. All right. So now, once you're done with that, you ensure that you engage with your audience. Reply your comments. Send messages. Let people know that this is not like a bot. This is a human being. Reply and say what you think. When somebody gives someone gives a comment, reply with what you think about the person's comments. And sometimes ask a question. So when someone drops a comment and you say, "Oh, that's cool, thank you," the conversation may not go further. But then when you reply a comment with, "Thank you so much, I'm really happy that you liked it. What's one thing you think you'll be changing based on what you've read?" Now they're going to make another comment. And the more comments you have, the more interactions you have, the more reach you're getting. So engage with your audience. Next slide. Leverage LinkedIn features. There are LinkedIn stories live. You can go live. I mean, I haven't gone live before because LinkedIn is not my primary social media platform. We know that I post on LinkedIn every week at least. But you can go live on LinkedIn, especially if you are being professional. Because for me, I spend more time in my business. So, I mean, my career is on LinkedIn as well, but it's not as important as my business at this point in time. So there are things that you can pay attention to and just take advantage of on LinkedIn so that your possible future clients will find you. Imagine that you're trying to build a career in maybe software development, and you're talking about the things you're talking about the things you're doing. Trust me, you probably get a job with someone who you may apply for the same job with someone who is smarter than you, and they may give you the job instead of the other person because you've developed a skill that is important for any business, the skill of communication, the skill of showing the world what you are doing, what you are made of. And every business needs someone like that. That's why when it comes to being a C-suite executive, it's not just about knowledge. There are important lessons that you need to learn. There are important skills that you need to have. And building your brand is going to teach you many of those lessons without even realizing it. Next slide. So find connections with professionals. Don't just stay on LinkedIn and post. Connections, make connections with people. Find people who you want to be like, people that inspire you. Find them, connect with them. And when people do this thing with affiliation, when they see that you're affiliated with these people, they put you in their category. So that's something you want to do with LinkedIn as well. Personalized connection requests. When you're sending a request to someone that you really want to look up to, don't just send a request and say nothing. Drop a comment. "Oh, sir, I think you really inspired me and I really just want to be of help to you." Also, free points, try to be as valuable as possible to them so that you're able to build a relationship. I mean, that's not a branding tip, but just good for you to know and have. All right, next slide. Then maintain relationships, keep engaging with your content, give interviews. You can have virtual coffee chats, anything that just allows you to engage with people because it's personal branding and you want to ensure that people are seeing you as often as possible. They have access to you, they can interact with you, and you are not out of their reach. So that's something you want to do. Don't just post content because your content is a means to an end, and it's that you can build relationships, you can create networks, and ensure that people see you for who you are. Next slide. And then you want to track your progress, obviously. It means that as you're posting, don't just keep posting the same thing every single time and you expect that, oh, it's just going to work out like that. Not necessarily. As you keep posting, keep checking. Wow, this one I posted got so many likes compared to the other ones I've been posting. Now you know what works. So do more of what works. Okay. Check your analytics, check your profile views. What kind of posts got me more profile views? What kind of posts are actually working? So you're not just posting because you think, oh, it's a good thing to post. Find out what is working, do more of that. And then the more of that you do, the more reach you're getting, the more influence you're getting, the more people have a good impression of you about who you are, and the higher your chances of going ahead in your career, in any space, in any sphere actually. Next slide. I think this should be the last slide. And then this also means you will adjust your strategy. So if you've been trying, you tried one particular thing and it's not working, try something else and see what works. So you don't have to stick to the same format of content every single time. You can vary your content style. Someone like Aproko Doctor, for example, his content style is not always the same. I mean, you would always find him in front of a screen, but there are some videos that he does outside. There are some videos that he does actually with people. Sometimes shake things up a little. Don't stick to the same exact type of content every single time. And if it doesn't work out, feel free to go back to what you were doing before. If it works out, all right, this is something you want to do. Maybe someone like Lai Wasabi, for example. Everybody who knows, many people here may know Lai Wasabi. He started with lecturer, he did lawyer, and then lawyers the one that picked up. And so he has expanded on the lawyer mood. He has gone, now he's doing YouTube videos about it. So but if he stuck to only one, he probably wouldn't have figured out what was going to work best. Okay, so
Yes.
do a wide range of content styles, and when you do that, it becomes easy for you to figure out what's working, and then you can then hone in on that and let that be something that you are even more known for. All right. Thank you so much. This has come to the end. I'm happy to take questions right now.
Wow. Thank you so much, sir. Wow. 1 second. Let me just stop sharing. Okay, we're back. Thank you so much, sir. This was such a phenomenal session. There are questions already that are coming in from um your question from the conversation and all of that. I saw three questions
Okay.
already. The first that was asked was, I've heard so many people say you have to find your way to be a way to be fun and serious at the same time. How do you do that?
Okay. So when they say be fun and serious at the same time, they're not trying to say you need to be a comedian, or they're not trying to say you need to crack jokes. What they're trying to say is you need to be
Oh dear. Can you hear me, sir?
all right. Can you hear me now?
You're back, sir. Yes, sir. You're back.
Yes. Okay. So when people say you want to find a way to be fun and serious at the same time, they're not trying to say you need to be a comedian. They're not trying to say you need to make people laugh. They're just trying to say you need to be easy to listen to. You don't want to be stuck up. You don't want to, we had lecturers that they were not necessarily funny, but you enjoyed listening to them. We had teachers like that that would come to class, and sometimes you may laugh, but it wasn't because they were funny. It was because they were relatable. It's because they were down to earth. It's because they had a way of explaining it, and it just made sense. They didn't just come and they were just reading out today integrated science photosynthesis is and those are the kind of people that get things done. And so when they say find a way to be fun and serious, what it means is you want to be as relatable as possible. Let people know that you're human.
Let people know that you're human. Okay. Network. Oh, we're almost done. Let us know. Let us know how this session was for you. while he was sorting out his network as well. Can you just let us know what stood out for you in this session so that we could give him some reactions and some feedback at the end of this as well? Especially just to show him and your thank yous and all that as well. Please and thank you. So let's do that as well. Let's write down our thank yous. Let's put it in the comments and just go from there. Because for me, this session was really phenomenal because it really demystified the personal branding, and it allows every one of us to have a blueprint on how to build a personal brand, on how to be a personal brand. When he talked about the fact that we are the product and we need to begin to think of ourselves in that light, that also was very powerful for me. That was a powerful thought for me as well. Let me know what today was like for you. All right, just put it in the chat while we wait for him to come back as well. All right, today has just been, Lucy said, I needed it. I needed it. Yes, I think we all needed it. We all needed today's conversation. We all needed today's session because God has really been emphasizing the global market on LinkedIn. And I feel that's a place that we need to be willing to play. That's a space that we need to be willing to put ourselves out there to really contend and to really position ourselves to leverage and to win on that platform. And I just want to let you know that tomorrow is another day. Invite your friends, let them know that we've started. It's free. All you need to do is show up. It's completely free, and we're going to keep replay up for 24 hours at least. So you have 24 hours to listen to the replay and go through it again. But I believe that this was a much needed session, a much needed session. Um, so yes, okay, I think he's back. Maybe not, but it's yes, Chineye. It's been very enlightening. It's been extremely enlightening. I find that there was a whole lot of clarity with ease. There's a whole lot of clarity with ease, and it's just been so powerful. And the level of intentionality was so much. So yes, thank you for your feedback. Thank you so much for your feedback. Thank you for your feedback. Can I hear from more people as well? How was today's session for you? Thank you for this feedback, Adeze. Said she's been hearing so much about personal branding, and this is the first time that someone has really taken time to explain what it means. This is so amazing. This is amazing. This is beautiful. Thank you so much for giving us this feedback for us to work with and for us to build with. I'm sure that you will not forget what you've learned today in a hurry. You will not forget what you've learned today in a hurry. Like I said at the beginning, um, like I said at the beginning, Pastor David is a pastor of CCI, and he is such a gift, such a blessing, not just in the body of Christ, but now we can also see in the marketplace, and being able to convert our tangibles um, and to give us a level of uh, deep understanding of the journey of personal brand, of building a solid personal brand that everyone can have, everyone should have, everyone needs to build their lives around, to have really direction on how to become. So Pastor David has some network issues today. Um, I just want to say that, so what we're going to do is probably send him the questions. If I can get the team members to send him, okay, let's see if he comes on now. Let's see if he comes on now and all of the. All right, let's see if he comes on. Okay, he's back. Thank God.
Okay. Can you hear me? Ah,
Yes, I can hear you now. Sorry
the
about that, sir.
network has been
Yes, sir.
really acting up.
Yes,
Okay.
sir. Thank you so much for answering that question. Let me just run through so we can release you, sir. The second question is, how do you find your voice? What if you're good at so many things? Oh dear, we're back to network again. Okay, so I think we're going to send him a message and send him the questions, and maybe he can just do a brief video with some answers for us. Um, Maybe we can just do that real quick. Lucy, can you facilitate that? We're just going to send him the questions and have him just do a brief video answering the questions for us because we don't want to keep him too long and it's past our scheduled time as well. We want to sustain the time that we are. So please just call him right now and let him know that we can send him a message very quickly for him to just do a video answering us the questions. All right, everybody. Okay, he's back again. He's back.
Oh,
Sorry,
my.
sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. This network.
We
Okay.
we even we wanted to suggest, could we send you the questions and you could just do a video and send it to us?
Perfect. Perfect. That will save us time. And
Yes,
just
sir.
in case
So that.
again. Yeah, perfect.
Yes, sir. But thank you so much for today, sir. The feedback has been amazing. I really wanted to read this one to you real quick before we send you those questions. She said, I've been hearing about personal branding, and this is the first time someone has taken time to actually demystify and explain what it really entails. And I believe that a lot of us feel that way with this
Mm.
session. Thank you so much, sir, for
Thank
taking your time to answer questions we did not even know we had. God has been pushing some of us to LinkedIn, and thank you for publicly dragging us and taking us to LinkedIn.
you. Yeah,
So thank you for publicly dragging us. We will now take LinkedIn seriously.
yes, yes. I have
Thank
a
you so
document
much.
that I can share. I'll share it with you. Maybe just like a simple guide that can help you, like maybe the first 3 months on what to
Thank you.
post.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Sir, you need to say thank you, sir. It's only God that will bless you for
Thank
us.
God. Thank God.
Oh
Thank
my
God.
God, this is such a gift. Thank you so much. We've had such a beautiful time with you. Thank you so, so much, sir. We'll just release you, and Lucy will get the questions to you right away so
All right.
that
All
you
right.
could. Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
sir. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. The replay is available. Please come back and listen to it. Even me, I will come back and listen to it because I was doing slides. So now I'm going to come and listen to it as a student myself and learn because so many great gems have been shared. Have a good night, everybody, and see you again
Everyone.
tomorrow. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye for now, sir.